Okay, so I looked at transportation, and I also focused on the Hans Brownfield. I proposed the redevelopment for it. And so what I thought would be interesting to look at was wind. And so Cincinnati is located here, and these are major wind corridors that Cincinnati is centrally located in between. So I thought that I would look more into the transportation aspect of it. And I found that 75 and Spring Grove Road and Hopple Street could all aid into the transportation of these windmill blades. And I looked more into the windmill, into the process of like recruiting a factory. And the head of the American Windmill Engineering Association, I found an article that he published on CBS, and he was describing how many parts go into a windmill. And there are approximately 8,000 parts that go into a windmill, and half of those are domestically made. And he also pointed out that old manufacturing facilities in the Midwest are perfect locations for these facilities because they have the existing infrastructure built all around them. And that includes like roads and access ways to highways and rivers. And so something else I looked at that was kind of interesting was during World War II, when the factories converted from normal factories like car manufacturing into other facilities. I looked at Singer in particular, which is the sewing machine company, and they transferred into a rifle sight, which is on top of the gun that you look for to see where you're shooting during World War II. I thought that was kind of interesting, and that was just one of the examples I thought of conversion, and how quickly it could be done. So here I have some images. These are windmill blades on a truck. These are on a rail, which is located right here behind the site. And then these are blades going down the Ohio River. And so I just wanted to show that they could be shipped in a multitude of different ways. So here I have the proposed building with the railway line. And it includes a spur, which will allow for direct loading onto the train tracks, which can be shipped either north or south. And then I highlighted Spring Grove and Hopple and 75, which were all key points into the transportation aspect of windmill blade manufacturing and transportation. And then I just enlarged it here and showed section views of the dock loading facility. Spring Grove Avenue from the front here, the section view of what it would look like, and from the parking lot.
The last sort of individual intervention we made in relation to the master framework plan was to look at the Western Hills Viaduct. Just quickly a little background information on that. In terms of transit, the I-75 plan, Mill Creek Expressway plan that ODOT has proposed actually stops right here, right north of the Western Hills Viaduct, and they have no plans to address that interchange or the viaduct itself. So what we proposed is to include that interchange in the 75 plan. What we've heard from the city is that the viaduct itself is obsolete in terms of the lanes aren't wide enough. The sidewalk is 18 inches wide in places. There's no ADA accessibility at all. Aside from that, under current use, the structure will start to deteriorate within 20 years or so. So by 2015, the city wanted to replace that viaduct. And our proposal is to build this new viaduct right to the north of the existing one. And so that way this interchange can be included in the ODOT plan. Funding can be helped, the city won't have to pay for the entire thing itself, so that'll benefit the city and the state. And then in terms of the existing viaduct, rather than tear it down, we want to turn it into a park. This will start to look at some of the things we talked about in the framework plan, as well as create sort of greener connections, both to up the hill to Fairview Park, and then to the future Mill Creek redevelopment plan that'll include some green space along Mill Creek. So we'll have these connections of green space, as well as connections back into the surrounding communities. Aside from this, we'll also have improved traffic flow at that viaduct. We won't have a sort of bottleneck that happens between ODOT's focus areas on the interstate. So we see benefits for a number of reasons. And for this project, I looked to New York City, to the High Line that was recently completed and has seen really great success and great popularity there. And I figure we can can do a similar intervention, although probably at a minor scale, much smaller scale here, a much more inexpensive scale, to make this park really an attractive place. It'll create almost a destination in Camp Washington that can help feed into some of the other things we talked about in the framework plan. And just a quick recap on this framework plan itself. What we have done here, aside from these individual interventions that are sort of supplements to our grander scheme, the focus areas that we've chosen here and highlighted on the framework plan are both areas that, through our interventions, we can have the greatest impact on the community in terms of our goal of restoring a sort of self-sustaining economy, as well as